Welcome to another episode of Geek-Men and the Masters of the Thunder Nerds. I am Dustin.
I'm Zombie.
Indeed, you are. And today we have with us a very special guest. I'll pull him in here if I can. There we go. Figure it out. Bruce Q. Wayne. How's it going?
You're muted.
Mute gate. Mute gate. We've had our own mute gate on the very first episode. Okay. So, how you doing, everybody? I'm Bruce Q. Wayne. If you can't tell, I'm a huge Batman fan. And this is a custom patch and a custom pin that I put on a custom design for my hat. But I do that
Nice.
on a regular basis. I customize a lot of my hats, and those of you who know me from other areas, such as quote unquote nerds in a bar, will know that I do a segment where we talk about my pins on my hat, but we'll get into that later. Right now,
Yeah.
how you doing, guys?
Hey, I'm pretty good. I can't complain. Hey. We got Cosmic Grandpa and Pop's back here.
I know that guy.
And Matt, how's it going?
So I gotta say, Zombie, I love the wall behind you. Okay,
Oh,
like you, I have showcases behind me, but it goes literally 15 feet across both sides. So there's four giant cabinets full of literally Batman from '66 to probably mid 2000s. 2010, 2018.
Mhm.
I don't think I have anything more modern than that because I had to stop. I had to stop. It just got to be too much. I mean, I've been collecting Batman for over 40 years. Hence, my original name on my Nerds in the Bar podcast was Batman Mark. So that was my Americanized name. But here for the comic world, I'm Bruce Q. Wayne. And Q stands for Quartermain, not QAnon. So for anybody out there who's thinking otherwise, it's Quartermain. Bruce Quartermain Wayne, that's me.
nice.
Oh,
well,
boy.
I don't quite have a 15-foot wall. I'm in a 10 by 10 room, so it's almost halfway surrounded by shelving like this behind me, all the way around.
There you go.
Everywhere where there's a door, a closet, or where I hung my TV, there's no shelving.
Okay. Do you guys know who Ralph Garman is?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ralph Garman is a very close friend of everybody who doesn't know, Kevin Smith from, of course, Clerks and all the other movies he's made.
Yeah.
So Kevin Smith's friend, Ralph Garman, is a huge Batman fan. And like me, he dabbles more in 66 memorabilia. He's got a panic room that leads from one office into a back room that he made into his bat cave. And it's pretty wild. There's video
That's
of it
awesome.
on YouTube somewhere out there, but I would love to get him on here as well because he's a huge Adam West Batman figural collector. He's got helmets and masks and all kinds of stuff from the show and just a bunch of old collectible toys like I do. I don't know if you guys can see them. Where is it? The mask. That's from
Nice.
Ideal Toy Company, 1966. My original
Wow.
one, the first one I ever had, I was playing with when I was, 6, 7 years old. And my mother gave it away to my cousins when I left for school. And my aunt's dog chewed it up on this.
Oh.
So I had to go and replace it. And that's what you see up there. But,
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got it
Huge
replaced.
Batman fan. Took me a while, but I got it replaced.
Oh boy. That is crazy. And so let's talk about you have so you have extensive experience in lots of different things. However,
I do.
I want to talk about the toy lines you helped influence and create.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that in the beginning. I wish I had a little bit more time to dig them out. I will find them for you because they're in the cabinets below. I mean, if you saw this, this is literally like 8 feet high, and the first 4 feet, the first 4 feet is cabinetry. actually 3 feet. The 3 feet high is cabinetry, and then the next 4 feet is showcases, glass showcases running the full length 15 feet. So underneath here, let me see if I can just like give you a quick picture. You think it's stuffed a little bit?
Nice.
A little bit.
I've got a lot of stuff in here that I haven't even begun to separate. And like I've even got a box of Uno cards I just picked up from the local Stop and Shop here that was just intense. They just came out with them, so I grabbed them up. But yeah, the Ninja Night Force was a line that Hasbro had put out. Is it Hasbro? Hasbro. It was Hasbro because it was, I want to say 97, 98 Toy Fair when I announced it or when I showed them off. I customized action figures for a very long time. So I would take a lot of the old play, what is it? No, I'm sorry. Oh my God, Toy Biz figures. I was taking a
Right.
lot of the Toy Biz figures. And then there were some Playmates figures that came out that had really nice body designs. So I would take these other figures, chop them up, hack off their arms and legs, crack open the body cavities, and then I'd mishmash body parts back together. And later on, Toy Biz did a really nice line of humanoid, superhero figures that I was able to disassemble and reassemble and reconfigure into many other things. I actually, is it here? Let me see if I got it here. I did a Nightwing figure that was going to be, yes, here it is. Bingo. I actually have one. Hold on a second. This was supposed to be in the Ninja Night Force line, Wave 2, that they were going to release. But then my original concept for the Ninja Night Force line was based on the Nightfall, Night Quest, Night's End trilogy story arcs. Are you
Yeah,
familiar with those?
I am.
So Bane breaks Batman's back, for those who don't know the story arc. Bane breaks Batman's back. Batman winds up, and everything's just falling here, so bear with me. 1 second. So Bane breaks Batman's back. Bruce Wayne can no longer be Batman. So
Right.
what does he do?
He gets Azrael.
He brings in Azrael, Jean-Claude. I was going to say Jean-Claude Van Damme, but Jean-Claude Valet, who he lets take over the mantle of the Bat. I actually have a couple of figures here that I customized. I didn't realize they were in the showcase, so this is going to be cool. I actually found them readily handy and right up front. I wanted to bring out the other ones that were manufactured after the fact based on the customized figures that I did. I did a whole series of them. And being a huge Batman fan, I'm also a huge Nightwing fan. And so this is I'm sorry, not a custom piece. This is actually a manufactured piece. Whoops, get that in view.
Oh, it's
see
awesome.
that it's got a lot of dust on it. I haven't cleaned these off in a while. You know that white film that gets on Rubberoid toys?
Yeah.
If you let them sit too long? Yeah. So this was a piece that was actually modified, that was designed based on something I had done 10, 15 years earlier. Hold on a second. Ready? You guys are going to get a load of this.
Nice.
So this was my custom design. I took the body cavity from, let's see here, get that right in. So it's still posable. I tried to make them as usable and posable as possible. I used Bondo, actual car Bondo, but I was able to break out the legs and make the same style cuffs that were on his legs.
Oh, nice.
But this was made back in 97, 98, and this was made in 2000, I want to say 10, 2009. Hold on, let me read his ass because I'm sure the indicia's on the back. You know what? I need a magnifying glass. I can't read it. So, yeah, it's really small. But I also had staffs for him, little batons, but they had fallen out, being sitting in the case for as many years as they had. But I did a series of action figures, customizing them from the Toy Biz figure line, and I made a series of the Ninja Quest, Knight's Quest, Knight's End action figure assortment. And actually, I do have the Azrael Bat up in the corner, but it's so high up, I don't know if I can reach it because there's a I'm rearranging, so I have a different showcase blocking my desk, so I can't get to that corner. But
Yeah, it's
we'll
all good.
eventually get there. Yeah, but I do want to show you a custom figure I made for Deathstroke. This is
Oh,
my version of
nice.
Deathstroke. Okay,
That's
so this
cool.
was a Captain
Wow.
America figure from the what was the they did a compilation figure assortment with the gaming systems. What was the gaming system that was it?
Oh, it's a
Capcom?
Capcom. Yep.
Capcom. Okay, so I was right. So this was the Capcom Captain America figure that came with another figure, and I just hacked it up and I left the majority of the figure intact. The belt, I didn't finish the belt, so part of it's red, part of it's orange, like the rest of him. Um, I was able to take a sword sheath, which is just a solid. It's not even a real opening in there. I didn't have time to really go through and Dremel it out, but I did have a sword for him from one of the other figurines that I had an accessory for. I think
Yeah.
one of the Spawn figures, actually, one of the early Spawn figures. And so the Bolero also came from like a Punisher figure or something that I had laying around. So I had bins and bins of parts. Like I had a bin just of legs. I had a bin just of arms. I had a bin just of upper torsos and heads and accessories, gun accessories, sword accessories, knife accessories. So I just kept making different figures. And being that I was going to Toy Fair and I was friendly with Alan Hassenfeld, who is one of the original grandsons of the Hassenfeld brothers, hence the name Hasbro Toys. Hasbro is Hassenfeld Brothers. That's how they shortened it. So Alan Hassenfeld is got to be in his mid to late 70s now. But I mean, I was going to see him back in the late 80s, early 90s at Toy Fair. And I would bring my prototypes of all the customized figures I did. And he liked them, that he would have me talk to the male action figure guys that were in charge, the managers that were running those teams. And so I would leave them I would take pictures. And back then I had a 110 camera. Okay. There wasn't cell phones where you could just drop them into an email and just send them to them. So emails didn't exist back in 88, 89. They, for the government they did, but not for us. So anyway, not everybody had a computer in their house. Now everybody's got a computer, a TV, and streaming services, and Roku, and God knows what. Which I understand Roku is coming to Madness Comic Network soon. Shh. But anyway, spoiler alert. Too late. Gotcha. So yeah, it's different things like that. I really enjoyed customizing. And when I found a figure that had a decent body type, I would put it on my workstation and I'd leave it there. And I knew eventually I was going to need it. So I had a box of figures that I would have stashed that I would eventually start breaking apart and piecemealing out and just making something out of them. So you've already seen two of the figures that I've customized. I have another Nightwing in the showcase. It's a little far back in the corner. Can you give me another second?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Ninja Knight Force didn't come out until I want to say 90, the end of 99, end of 98, beginning of 99. And so I based it on the period in the story arc where Bruce Wayne was having to be retrained to fight again and learn to gain his speed back. And that was done by him pitting himself against Lady Shiva, who then had pitted him against all the other masters of different versions of karate, jujitsu, judo, all that stuff.
Right.
Oh, why can't I reach this? Oh, got it. Okay. So I actually have a few different ones. You guys are going to get a trip out of these. I just realized I had more in here than I did. So the commercial stuff that you saw, this was from the Batman series back, I want to say 90, what was this? This was actually under the Kenner logo, 1994, okay? So this was that Batman series that came out. They were really unique and interesting designs on the figures. So it says 94, which means it was probably released in 95, because they always put the year they manufacture it. It's the year before because they don't release them until usually after production. So
Yeah.
then there's this one that came out. I want to say 2007, 2008. Let's see. 2006. Okay, I was ahead of myself. So this came out in 2006, right?
Nice.
So the one I manufactured back in 92 and 93, the two that I came up with was this Nightwing, which was actually, I don't know if you can see, a Green Lantern figure from the
Yeah.
Superpowers series. There's his ring.
That's
So
awesome.
this was a Superpowers Hal Jordan
Yeah.
that I customized into a Nightwing figure, and I even put a ponytail on him,
Oh, nice.
like he has
Like he
in this
has in
figure,
the. Yeah.
Yep.
you know, from the comic book. So
Yep.
I did the same thing, but I made it come over his shoulder so that it actually looks like it's hanging over his shoulder. So really cool. That was one of my customized Nightwings. I was a big, like I said, because I was such a big Batman fan, Dick Grayson being Nightwing was just like an easy go-to. So this
Yeah.
is a combination of legs from one figure. This is the two-tone blue suit. And this is one of the other first ones I did, but this is with the ponytail as well. And I forgot which character this was, but it was a Marvel Toy Biz figure. And I used the head from one guy. I used the chest from another, the arms from a different one, and then the legs from a. Actually, I think the legs and the arms came from the same character. And they were yellow and red. So one of the I forgot what not Leilani, Lilandra, Professor X's girlfriend from outer space, you know, Mr. Sinister's, you know, whatever. Okay, so she was a princess. Anyway, so that figure was from that assortment. But those are just some of the custom stuff that I did. But back to Ninja Night Force, I made a Bruce Wayne figure with the Mask of Tengu, and I took an Ultron head and I used Bondo and I made it into a bat mask. I wish I had that figure here, but I do have what was released by DC. Oh, everything's starting to fall. This was released by DC Direct years later after I customized, but this is the original Mask of Tengu.
Oh, nice.
Batman, Bruce Wayne. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this was manufactured by DC Direct. Mine came out about 12 years earlier and was sitting in Hasbro's, photo collection R&D department for years. And then I guess they decided, they had made the Ninja Night Force. So this is their version for the Ninja Night Force of this figure, the Mask of Tengu. Now, they screwed the pooch because I was trying to give them direction on how to take the line, and I think it would have done a lot better if they followed my original design specs and my story arc, because it followed the comic books. But this is their version of the Mask of Tengu. So he's got a tattered cape. He's wearing a red mask that actually comes off and reveals Batman's head. And the designs on these are very chunky and very bulky, so young kids could play with them, and they had really cool action. I forgot what this one was. I think, this one's a kick. So if you twist the upper body, he kicks, right?
Okay.
So a ninja action,
Right.
But then the Mask of Tengu, I actually painted these white because it was all red, but I wanted to paint the whole mask a bluish color, and I haven't done that yet, but I figured I'd leave it as is. But this is one of the figures that came from the original line I designed. So I have another one up on the other side of the showcase that I'm going to try and reach and get to. But the original series came out with like 5 or 6 different Batmans, a Robin figure, a Riddler figure, a Killer Croc figure, and they were going to do a Two-Face, a Bane, and a Nightwing for wave 2 or 3. They did one of Batman as an archer. They did one as Batman with some sort of a sword in the series, a ninja sword. But they didn't follow through, and they killed the line. They did great with the action. I mean, they've got an Azrael figure in the red costume, the original Azrael costume, and I've
Yeah.
got them up there, and that was based off of one of my designs. I took a Mr. Sinister cape from the Toy Biz line, the Mr. Sinister upper body, and then I put
Yeah.
different arms and legs on that gave it the shoulder pads, and the legs came from, oh, I can't remember, the guy with the gray pants and the red cuffs, the red boots, cuffed down. He was wearing a red and white vest. Anyway, it was a Toy Biz Marvel character
Yeah.
that I just chopped and hacked away at. But I'm going to try and see. No, it's too far up. I'm never going to reach there. Wait, maybe. I don't know. Hold on. Let's give it a shot. Give it a shot. No, I can't get in there. But so that was. Go ahead. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Zombie?
I was going to say, I do remember that Killer Croc figure. I actually looked him up because Dustin and I was talking about it earlier. And that was one I bought, and I actually turned into a custom myself. I used that whole figure minus the tail. And are you familiar with the story of Beowulf and Grendel and all of that?
Oh, absolutely.
So
I did Beowulf back in junior high. I read that book like 10 times.
Yeah,
it was one of my favorite stories.
I made Grendel.
There you go. What did you use? You used the Killer Croc as a Grendel?
I used that Killer Croc figure. Yeah, I bought some fox fur and put on his back, and I sculpted ears for him and painted him all up. And the thing that drew me to it was the bulk of it, and it actually had an articulated jaw.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. An articulated jaw.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very familiar with that Killer Croc figure. I still have it somewhere, but it's like you, it's buried somewhere.
when you locate it, I want to see it. I would love for you to pull it out and show it to us.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be one day when I get in my garage and start cleaning up.
Right.
There you go.
It looks like that scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end of the movie where they've got everything in crates. Like that's
they pan out and it's all great.
Yeah, that's my garage.
I've been there. I've done that. Going through a divorce, I had to take my entire basement, which was my work station, but I had to take my entire basement and load it up into a trailer that's still sitting in my driveway with all of my Batman animated and the Batman animated figures and the entire collection of Justice League Unlimited. I had all of the figures for Justice League Unlimited mint on card, and unfortunately they got damaged and destroyed when we had a flood in my basement. And I lost so much I lost so many carded figures and such. It was absolutely obscene. Really bad. But I know I'm not on screen. Just bear with me. I'm trying to pull other stuff out of the cabinet that I just found, realizing what they were. But I did tell you that I was big. I was big with both Hasbro and Mattel. And so I did a series of figures for Mattel later on. I don't know if you guys remember the Rescue Hero figures that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
sort of.
I have 5 kids and I now have 4 grandkids, but my oldest boys were big into the Rescue Hero figures. And being that I was in the toy industry, I started talking to the guys at Mattel. It was just after they took over the license from Hasbro. Hasbro let the license for Batman lapse. The evergreen property of DC Comics, they decided to let that go because they were going to focus more on Transformers and G.I. Joe, which I don't think was a bad choice because I think they've more than made their money up on Transformers alone, just continuing to do that. And I don't know if you guys saw the last movie, Rise of the Beasts or something. What was the last?
I haven't, no.
CGI okay, you got to watch it. First off, it takes place, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers other than part of the movie takes place in Peru, which is where my girlfriend is from. And she's an international artist. She works 4th generation Inca Indian, 3rd generation looming artist. And so she's the one who told me that the last live action CGI movie was
Rise of the Beasts.
Rise of the Beast was filmed in Peru. So Machu Picchu, which I had taken her and her daughters to the year previous. Last year we went and saw I took them to Machu Picchu last year, and the movie came out only just shortly thereafter. I didn't even know about it, but we saw the movie the other night, and I was like, that's crazy. It's like we were right there. But
Yeah.
anyway, I digress. The Rescue Hero figures was the chunkiness of those figures was ideal for preschool, and
Right.
they were dabbling in the real heroes, the realistic heroes, the fireman, the policeman, the paramedic, all the different types of work that could be done. They were giving the kids, the preschoolers, something chunky to hold on to. So before Mattel came out with a series called Superheroes,
Mm-hmm.
Super Friends. I'm sorry, DC Super Friends. I don't want to spoil it, so hold on a second. Let me see if I can do this. See DC Super Friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So they did a series of those figures because of me. I had originally taken the Toy Biz Captain America figure right here.
Mhm.
And I customized, where the hell did I just put? Oh, there it is. I customized this one into a Batman figure.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And so I did a 3-dimensional chest emblem from Bondo, and I hand
Nice.
customized that. I had to shave his cuffs on his booties and then add Bondo to make the points in Batman's boots.
Yeah.
And then I had to add, as you can see here on his gauntlets, he doesn't have fins, but Batman has fins.
Nice.
So I really had to customize this a lot. And then I made a utility belt from Bondo as well. As you can see, Captain America's belt is just great. So I did a lot of manipulating on this one figure. It was more of an add-on customizing than anything
Yeah.
else. But if you can see the faces, the blue eyes are basically exactly the same.
Mhm.
And so
That's
I
awesome.
made a Batman figure from Captain America. Now, Batman's not complete without Robin, right? He's always got to have his sidekick. Like, I don't know if you guys know Creative Chaos, Christy Mack. Hi, Christy, if you're out there listening. So Christy Mack is a dear friend of mine, and I work with her, and she's so good. She has Batman as her sidekick, so I play her sidekick on her show. But anyway, here is the custom version. I mean, the commercial released version of the Batman figure I customized. As a matter of fact, you can still see the red feet on this from the Captain America one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this was mine. This is theirs. This is actual Mattel production. This was released a year and a half after I had given them these as prototype designs.
Yeah.
They absolutely loved them. And then, because I am an Adam West Batman fan, as you can see, the blue and supposedly gray cape and all, they did a blue one for me.
Nice.
Not for me, but for release, for public release. And so they made those, and then I went and I decided I wanted to make a Robin to go along with Batman. So I took the see-through bluish plastic Iceman figure from the same Captain America line, and I made a Robin.
Nice.
Nice.
So you've got Batman and Robin in one set.
Yeah.
And they're close in size, but Batman's ears actually do make him a smidge taller.
Yeah.
Which was nice. It was, they made Iceman just a smidge shorter. So now they made a Robin figure based on my prototype design. But they
awesome.
released it as a Matty Collector exclusive. Do you guys remember Matty Collector?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so this was, along with Hawkman, a Matty Collector exclusive. I do have Hawkman up there as well. I didn't design Hawkman, but, go with the flow. They designed Batman, Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and I believe that's it on superheroes until they came out with Robin and Hawkman. And then they did want to say they did Joker. I don't remember all the villains. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, it was a really nice, fun line.
Yeah.
They did away with it. Unfortunately, they didn't carry it through as much because they decided to go in a different, smaller way with the
Yeah.
figures. Because if you guys are familiar with their preschool line, they went from these
Mhm.
to the Imaginext figures, which
Yeah.
are only this big. And I have one in here. Hold on a second. Grab it now while I got it. Right here. So they shrunk Batman from this size. Whoops. Ugh. Superheroes shouldn't have capes. Isn't that, what was that? The
Incredibles.
Impossibles? Incredibles, yeah.
Yeah.
To this size,
Yeah.
right? So look at the difference in size.
Yeah.
So they went from these big chunky figures for the preschool kids to these little ones, Imaginext. So because they wanted to do more selling of their product line with playsets. Playsets are a huge business. You can get a really nice playset for these figures, the small ones, but they
Yeah.
couldn't do one for the bigger figures. They did a Batmobile, they did a Batplane, they did one or two other vehicles, but they didn't sell as well. So they went back to the smaller action figures, you know, the 3-inch, well, no, not even 3-inch, 2¼ inch, 2 3/4 inch. You know, I think these are the same size or a little bit smaller than GI Joes. So they're
Okay.
2¼ inch, right?
Yeah.
And GI Joes are 3¼ inch, 3
Yeah.
3/4 inch. So these are nice. They're small. They release blind bags on these things regularly. I think this one came from the Flash set or one of the play sets, and it was the Batman and a Superman figure. So they put Batman in black. There's a gray version of this. They have the version where the chest and the back and the chest light up. So some of the toys, you sit the figure in a vehicle and it's got illumination built into it. So as soon as the figure is placed into the vehicle, it pushes a button down and lights up the back of the character's chest, lights up through the back, and the chest glows or the eyes glow or whatever. So they've gotten creative with the Imaginext line, and I really do appreciate that, if nothing else. I would like to have seen these stay out there in these bigger, chunkier versions.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got grandkids now, and I'm trying to find anything I can with these larger, bigger figures that he can play with because he's only 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
And he's huge into Batman because of G-Pa. I'm too cool to be a grandpa, so they call me G-Pa.
I like that.
So, yeah, so I've been customizing and making figures on my own probably since the mid 80s because I was doing it in college. I was doing it back in college, right out of college. And then I got into Toy Fair and I started going to Toy Fair. So I was starting to get to know the vendors, Mattel, Hasbro, MGA, which made the Bratz, you know, the Brat figures. The guy was originally a Mattel toy line designer, and he was doing the Barbies. And he got fed up with Mattel. They screwed him over. And so he jumped over and created Bratz. So it had this big bobbly head and this skinny little, you know, cartoonish body, longer arms, just distorted, but not a Barbie distortion. It was a, you know, like a cartoon distortion. And that's what he did. And actually, he got sued by them. They screwed the pooch on him so bad that they ran him out of business. You know, deeper pockets prevail in, unfortunately, these types of lawsuits. So they literally ran him out of business. And he still has the company, but they killed the line, Bratz. Now, it's starting to make a comeback, but more digital than action figure-wise or doll figure-wise. You know, it's really funny. A quick story back in the day. My mom wanted to get me the Batman Mego action figure. I was huge into Batman back then. I've been watching the TV show, the Adam West one, since it came on in '66. Literally, you know, 2 years in diapers. I was 2 years old, and it came on TV, and I was blown away. It was a mid-season replacement. My father, my mother, and I sitting on the couch in the TV room watching the Adam West Batman in black and white, because I only had a black and white TV back then. But it was amazing. It was like biff, bam, pow. And I was a 2-year-old kid. I was enamored by it. It really like it hit home. And so the Adam West Batman was my, I guess, door into the collecting world, because I was so enamored by Adam West's Batman that I wanted to be Batman, because he was actually human. He wasn't an alien from outer space. He wasn't a Martian Manhunter. He wasn't an Amazon from the from the Amazon jungle. He was a flesh and blood human being who trained himself to be the best he could be.
Yeah.
And so that struck a chord with me, and I always wanted to be Batman. So now I'm Bruce Q. Wayne. They call me the Batman on the Foxhole podcast, which hopefully you guys will come join us over there soon. Pops was talking about some shows wanting to come over, and I hope you guys do it, because it's just an interesting way of expanding your audience to things that they may not be aware of, or that they'll remember after the fact. They'll be like, oh, I used to have one of those. Oh, wow.
Right.
I had gotten that for my kid. I remember watching that TV show. Things like that, pop culture-esque, because that's what Three Beermen's about. The show I come from foxholepill.net, we're not about politics. We're not about, the day-to-day news. We're about beer, pop culture, and technology. So Cosmic Grandpa, who's out in the chats now out there, if he's still there, he's our tech wizard. He's our program director, if you will. He runs the show for us every Sunday night, and he takes care of all the back tech work. I'm tech-tarded. As much as I'd like to say I'm Batman, I'm not tech savvy enough to be able to do all the gizmos and gadgets. Now, handheld gadget, yes, absolutely. I am very proficient in multiple weapons. I've studied jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, judo for many years of my life. I just turned 60 this year, and don't tell anybody. But I've been studying different martial arts and different weapons for a period of approximately 32 years of my life. So
Nice.
I am very proficient, and I'm very good with short staffs, knives, close contact combat, brass knuckles. I have many variations, different kinds. I have collections of knives and swords. I studied samurai sword for a little while. So I have a very broad spectrum knowledge in weapons and martial arts, along with the pew pew pews. But we're not allowed to talk about that. Anyway, so I've always wanted to be Batman, and I literally have a utility belt when I go. Like, I went to the city today, and I went loaded for bear. Okay, I had one really nice piece in, as we say in Espanol, Navajo, in my left pocket. I had one in my right pocket, and I had my straight blade on my belt. Along with, on my belt, I had a multi-tool that fits into the belt buckle. So I was ready to go. And then we went to the museum, and of course I had to walk through a metal detector. And before I went in, yeah, exactly. So before I went in, my sister says to me, she goes, "You're not packing, are you?" Because that's what she calls it. She calls me packing. I'm like, "As a matter of fact, I am." She goes, "How many do you have on you this time?" I said, "Only 3." And then her friends who were with her from Florida were like, "Only 3?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm in New York City. You never know." So I literally had taken them out of my pants and off my belt and everything, and I stuck them into I have a military knapsack, and I stuck them all the way at the bottom, and I put my backup battery on top of that, and then my cable with the plug on top of that. So when they went to look in my bag, they didn't see anything. They just saw like accessories for my phone. So they let me in. And of course, I'm walking with a cane because I was in a really bad car accident back in October, and I just had neck surgery. Here's the scar, and I'm really not supposed to be moving around. I'm literally supposed to be in a neck brace right now because I'm not supposed to be turning my head left or right. But I'm trying not to. Yeah. It's just very uncomfortable, and it caused a rash. But you don't need to know all that dirty details. That's too much information. But let's digress back to the toys. What other questions you got for me, guys?
I'm just still like so blown away. So let's talk about your background and your into Toy Fair, and you started to touch on that, and let's dive into that a little bit.
Sure. So I was very friendly with Lee's Action Figure Journal. I don't know if you guys know of that. Was it Lee's Action Figure Review or Lee's Action Figure Journal? There were two major toy collector magazines that were out back in the late 80s into the 90s. Lee's Action Figure Digest. And then there was another family, a father and son team, and the father was in his early 60s back in the 80s. So it was him and his son, and they had a magazine, and I'm trying to remember the name of the magazine. And then there was a newspaper called Toy Shop.
Right.
And Toy Shop is the trade newspaper for the toy collector industry, that what eBay became. Okay, Toy Shop. If you Google Toy Shop newspaper, it was a magazine that came out once a week, and you could find it only at rare newsstands. Like, you had to go out of your way to find it.
Yeah.
And I got a subscription to it. So before eBay even came into existence, or Etsy even came into existence, you were going through Toy Shop magazine, but it was a giant newspaper. It was like a larger sized version, almost like a full size local newspaper, not New York Times size, but a little smaller than the New York Times. And I was thumbing through that, and I started making acquaintances through the toy industry with those guys. I actually had a young gentleman who, Brad McCurry, who you may have heard of, was customizing figures before anybody even knew what customizing figures were. And then there was Jesse Falcon, who was a customizer like me that we used to meet up at Toy Fair, and he got a job with none other than Toy Biz. And Toy Biz got bought up by Marvel, and then Marvel got bought up by Disney. He's still with the company to this day, and now he's just an advisor for the Marvel toy line. But he was literally the toy guy. And it's amazing, because I've interviewed people like, I don't know if you know who Marty Abrams is.
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. Why does that sound familiar?
Okay. Mego Toys.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So Mego Toys has been around since the 40s. It was his parents' company. He was working with his parents. His parents wanted out. He took over the company, and he created Mego Toys. And all of his contracts were literally done on a handshake. His, outside of Captain Action Figures, the Mego line was the real true first line of one action figure company putting out both DC and Marvel at the same time. You had Spider-Man and Batman. You had Tarzan, Hulk, Thor, Superman, Wonder Woman, Catwoman. I'm trying to think what they came out with in the Marvel line. But they had a variety of different licenses and all done on handshakes. Whereas today, an evergreen property like Batman, DC Comics goes for millions of dollars for a toy company, and you only have that licensing right for a period of time of, I think, 5 to 8 years or 5 to 7 years. It's been a long time since I did any kind of contractual stuff, because everything I did was mostly freelance. And because I ran my own business, and this was a hobby to me, but I dedicated myself to going to these toy shows, and I met a young man by the name of Gil Makita, who was my partner in Nerds in a Bar. For anybody out there who wants to go check those out, it's Nerds in a Bar on YouTube. You can check us out, youtube.com/nerds in a bar. And we did a series of approximately 200 plus videos. We have over 1,000 plus subscribers. Please subscribe to the channel, because somewhere, someday, I may want to resurrect Nerds in a Bar, depending on whether or not Gil wants to or not. We're going to figure something out. But we never made any money at it. It was never about the money for us.
Right.
It was about the collection. It was about expanding our collection. So could I have monetized? Probably. But that's not where I was at mentally. It was just like, oh my God, treasure hunt. It's the thrill of the hunt. For those who, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Getting a figure. And I watching last episode with Zombie showing us his sword that he made with 4 Horsemen.
Oh,
that's just absolute. That was beautiful. Things like that are just amazing. Exactly. So you made one, you took pictures of it, and you blasted it out. So that's how I started with Hasbro and Mattel, just making the figures and bringing them with me to the shows. And it wasn't until probably early 2000s, I want to say 2007, 2008, as Mattel was starting to take over the line. It was really interesting that oh, I lost my train of thought that flashed on the screen and I dropped.
Yeah, Nerds on the Road. Yeah.
Nerds on the Road. Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
gonna be
Nerds
awesome.
on the Road. Yes. So that's going to be the new name. All right, Pops is already working. Pops is already working our idea. We're not going to talk about that now, guys. We'll talk about that later because that's a spoiler for another time. I've spoiled enough already.
So you're taking your customs to shows with you.
Right. So Mattel took the license away from Hasbro in 2007. So it wasn't until 2007, 2008, 2009 where I had to start signing NDAs.
Oh.
Yeah.
For those who don't know the acronym, non-disclosure agreements. So I had to start signing non-disclosure agreements when everything was done with Hasbro was just by going to Toy Fair and being a friend of Alan Hassenfeld's, Hasbro Toys. It was just amazing because back then I didn't need to fill out NDAs. I was just showing him toys, and then he'd have his toy managers from the boys line reach out to me, and I'd send them pictures and hard mail because there was no email yet. Right. There was so much back then that, like Marty Abrams did everything on a handshake with DC and Marvel. And actually, Marty Abrams lives here on Long Island. And I happen to know him and his new business partner, Doc Migo. Paul and Marty brought Migo back recently within the last 7-8 years. But all because of Paul, Dr. Migo, you can look him up. He was huge Migo fan when he was younger, and as he got older, he continued to collect. He started reproing stuff too, like I did with the customizing he was doing with Migo figures. So he was taking Migo figures and he was creating accessories and body parts and all kinds of amazing stuff, and that got him in touch with Marty Abrams. He proposed something to Marty Abrams. Marty Abrams said, "You build it, I'll back you, but you've got to come up with everything." So he did the Star Trek series for a Star Trek convention, was Doc Migo's first run, and he got it. They came out so spectacular that Marty was so impressed, he backed him, and now he's a partner. Doc Migo is Marty Abrams' partner on the new Migo lines that have been around now probably about, I want to say maybe 12 years. They're back. But Migo had a long stint where it was dormant because of stupid legality issues. Here's what happened. Marty was too big for them, and they decided to take him down. That's unfortunately what happened.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of stories out there, but honestly, I'm trying to work it out with him, where I get to interview Marty, where he tells his life story. So whether we do it here or whether we do it on Madness Comic Network or we do it wherever on some form, I want to get his story out there because he's got stories that will blow your mind. Just his conversations with Stan Lee about the Migo line, his conversations with DC Comics, not Denny O'Neil, Julie Schwartz. And all the different, back and forth that he was able to do, and these handshake deals that were made back in the mid to late 70s that created the Migo line. So getting back to the story I started trying to tell you was that when my mom found out about the Batman Migo figure coming out, she went to my father and showed it to him and said, "I want to give this to Mark for Hanukkah." And my father turns to her and goes, "Boys don't play with dolls." And my mother turned to him and said, "It's an action figure." Marty Abrams is the one that came out with the slogan action figure. It's not a doll, it's an action figure. It said action figure right on the package. So that is how Migo Toys broke into the doll market and created action figures.
And you guys were just talking about this the other day.
I'm sorry?
Trekulator.
Yes. So we actually had the Trekulator on our show.
Yeah.
And Cosmic showed it off on Sunday. So there, I don't know anybody that has one, but Cosmic, it's not going to be hard to go on eBay and find one. I don't know how much they're running for, but I'm sure Cosmic Grandpa will locate one if he truly wants to get his hands on one. He'll probably create his own and show it to us in another couple of months because he's not tech savvy. No shit. You got to see some of the stuff that Cosmic Grandpa creates.
That's what I told Brian from Super 7, because I asked him when they were going to do My Pet Monster. And he kind of just brushed it off. It's like, well, they're still kind of out there. You can go find one if you want. I said, screw that. I'm going to make one, and then I'm going to show it to you.
Exactly. And they love that. They love fan input. I mean, look at Four Horsemen. Four Horsemen was probably the forefront of fan-based action figures. They took polls and they followed their boards and they followed what the trends were, and they asked the fans, what do you want to see? Now, McFarlane, Todd did the same thing a little bit, but Todd's very much into himself. And I love Todd McFarlane dearly. I've interviewed him hundreds of times at Toy Fair. We've got so many back and forths. He knows me by face. Unfortunately, I've been out of the toy industry now for about 4.5, 5 years, just before COVID, or just after COVID. I think there was 1 or 2 shows I did after COVID, and then my partner got stupid on me and went sideways because, well, I don't want to use the term libtard, but I'm sorry, did I just say that? I didn't mean to say it out loud. But anyway, he went sideways on me, and so whatever. We parted ways. Every now and then, I'll still text him, but he got bent on me because I started doing 3 Beermen, and he was like, they are rare as hen's teeth. If anyone sees one on eBay, message me. Okay, there you go. Cosmic Grandpa put it out there for the chats, for anybody. You see one on eBay, you send it to Cosmic Grandpa, please. He will absolutely buy one. I guarantee it. He'll drop dime on that in a heartbeat if he can. So those are the types of things that, we go out of our way for. I'm big into the 66 stuff, and there's been a revitalization of that, thanks in part to Mattel, to Mezco Toys. Oh my God. Mez from Mezco Toys. I've known him for years. I saw his very first line, his very first toy fair. I was at Todd McFarlane's very first toy fair in '92. I think Mezco's toy fair was 99 or 2000. Because it was before 2000, it was before 9/11, which is coming up, but I digress. I don't want to even get into that. I just remember meeting Mez, and he had the Goon figures, and they were cartoony. They were cartoony Goon figures, and the muscle guy was this really big, chunky, bulky figure, and I was like, that's beautiful. I would use that to customize it to make like a Hulk figure or something. He had the cap. He had the driver's cap on, and his eyes were squinty, and he had a big bulbous nose and a nice chin, but he was a brick shithouse. His shoulders were out to here, and his legs were these tiny little things, but he was just like an ape, like built like an ape. He was called the Goon. And then you had the Big Boss, and the Big Boss had like a hat and a 3-piece suit, a silk suit on, but it was all plastic, of course. And he did a really nice job with those figures. And I didn't think they were really going to go anywhere, and they didn't. But now if you try to find one, you're going to be paying some big bucks for those. Yeah. Because they didn't have a large release on those figures. But Mez is just as much a fanboy as you and I are, okay? He's just like Todd. Todd's a huge fanboy. He loves the action figure industry. He loves the comic industry. He's just nuts for it. Oh, aside from his sports endeavors that he branched out into, and now he's back into the toys again. But he now has the license for Batman. And so he's doing all these retro figures. He went back to do the 66 line after Mattel had already done them. And Mattel didn't do a bad job on them. But comparing McFarlane to Mattel is like trying to compare the U.S. Mint to a counterfeiter. Okay, there's no comparison. McFarlane's stuff by far blows everything away because he gets articulation in there that you never thought would occur. Mez did the same thing for a long time, and he still does them in the Mego-esque sized figures that are called 112 scale, the 112s. The 112s are by far just the most amazing. Like, it took Mego to the next level.
Yeah.
Like, you could take these figurines and pose them and put them in statuesque forms, fighting each other, and put them in a showcase, and they look like statues. But you have cloth costumes, you have rubber masks, you have all kinds of just crazy details. And you have multiple change out in hands and heads and faces, details of, you know, the squinting eyes to the bloody lips, you know, it's like just amazing detail. And I've been on the fringe of the toy industry literally the last 40 plus years. And I can't say I do miss it. I do miss it. I don't know if I want to go back into it the way I was, but Pops and I got an idea, which I'm going to put on that back burner still, because no spoilers since I've already done enough today. But we've got plans. We've got plans. And being semi-retired really helps because I can do some traveling. So we'll see.
I think that's part of my problem, because like you, I've been customizing for a long time. I've been customizing for 32 years now. I started back in '92. Just popping and swapping parts from the original scale G.I. Joe figures or whatever. And then I slowly started painting stuff. Then I started sculpting, and like you, popping bodies apart and Frankensteining stuff together. And but yeah,
I love that term, Frankensteizing. I created the term Frankensteizing, and I used to write articles about it, Frankensteizing. And I actually had an article that I used to write for cartoon, what is it? ToonNetwork.com, I believe was the name of it. But I used to be there. It Figures was my article. It's called It Figures. And I would review the newest, best, hottest, you know, whatever was coming out. And at the time, it was Batman the Animated. So that goes back to '92, when, you know, the internet was just getting started and there were message boards, you know?
Yeah.
So that I had an It's Figure article that I would put out once every 2 weeks on ToonNetwork.com, I believe is what it was. I'll have to go back and look that up. I don't know if you're digging for it now, Dustin, but I digress. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Zombie. Go ahead.
Nope.
92,
no,
you were customizing.
I was just going to say, my biggest problem is not knowing enough people in the industry. I think, you know, I'm not able to travel to all these conventions and everything and show people like in person, go, hey, I made this, you know?
Yeah. Right.
But I've posted, like you had mentioned, with message boards and stuff. I joined the Fwoosh, and that's where I used to post a lot of my stuff. And then I kind of shied away from that for a little while and just kind of went underground. But I never stopped customizing. I kept working on my craft. I learned how to mold and cast pieces. So I wasn't always just limited to, well, I've got this one figure and I don't want to mess it up, but I need a part of it. So I figured out how to do all that. And then years went by, and, you know, there were still other message boards out there that I kind of joined or whatever. And then Facebook came out and Instagram. And now that's mostly where I post all of my stuff. But as far as like knowing them like you have, like I know no one.
Well, you're also probably about 15, 20 years younger than me.
Yeah, I'm wait, what year is it? I'm 44. So,
okay. And I just turned 60. So like I said, about 15, 16 years. There you go. Yeah. But yeah, it's literally right out of college. I graduated college. I started working with my family in the family business. And I was able to take off time from working because at the time my father owned the company and I was just one of his staff, but he relied on me a lot during the holidays. And Toy Fair was always in February, which kind of fell on February break. They've moved it around many times since. I think it was supposed to be this past last May. I don't know if it ever happened. Next year, I think, is the last year Toy Fair is going to be held in New York City, and it'll be held at the Javits Center. So do me a favor, gentlemen. I'm going to put this on you because I've got so many other things on my head right now. I'm dealing with I got too many balls in the air. But I'm going to ask you to look up the next and final toy fair in New York City. And I want Pops and you guys to come out to New York, and we're going to get media passes, and we're going to do Toy Fair, the last New York Toy Fair. And we're going to videotape it, and we're going to run shows for it, and we're going to have a blast. What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
I'd love to. I'm gonna have to pull some strings to make it happen, though. I'm kind of planted in place.
I completely understand. You know, like I said, I have a family of 5 boys and girls, right? 3 boys, 2 girls. They span an age from 21 up to 33, right? But they were babies, you know, when I was still doing Toy Fair, and they loved when I came home from Toy Fair. And as the boys got older, my 2 older boys would come with me as my assistants, and they were my what do you call them? You don't pay them; they come in and colleges do it all. Interns. They were my interns. Yeah. So they were my interns. So I got badges for them as my interns, and they would carry my camera bags and my gear, and you know that. And we would go from showroom to showroom to showroom to showroom, and we'd do videotapes, and we put together, you know, all kinds of stuff. And the swag bags we used to get were incredible. We would get sample stuff that was one of a kind, you know, 1 of 100. Jack's Toys would put out the wrestling figures. Jeremy Padower, I happen to be friends with him. He is now one of the main guys at, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Holy shit. He does the other wrestling figures from, not ECW. What's the other line with Chris Jericho was with them. Not ECW, the new one from, it used to be Jeff Jarrett's organization.
I
wish I could help you. I have no idea.
You're not wrestling fans.
Not a huge wrestling fan.
No.
I don't know.
I can't even think of it right now. I'm drawing a total blank. But anyway, Jeremy Padower was the head of the boys' toys at Jack's Toys.
AEW?
And that's when they did
TNA.
I'm sorry?
AEW?
TNA. Thank you. It became something else. I don't think it's TNA anymore. I think it became another wrestling organization. But it was Dusty Rhodes' son was one of the guys that started it up, and Jericho, Chris Jericho, Jeff Jarrett. Anyway, long story short, Diamond Dallas Page was part of that organization for a little while.
Yeah.
When he moved back into wrestling after breaking his neck so badly that he didn't think he'd ever be able to wrestle
chat's
again.
Blowing up trying to tell us who it is.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Who is it? Tell me, please.
No, well, they're saying TNA, AEW, TNA,
AEW. Thank you.
There you
Thank
go.
you. AEW.
Figure Fight Club, Nick Dubuisson. Somebody else said it. I lost him.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys, out in the chats. I appreciate that, because I'm 60 years old and I've forgotten more than I can even begin to tell you. It's crazy.
You can only hold so much.
Yeah, well, there's always something new coming out that I got to worry about instead. So I'm constantly doing that. Cosmic Grandpa will tell you, like, I'll be talking about something and then I'll be like, shit, lost my train of thought. That's what happens when you're ADHD and you're not taking your self-medicated marijuana breaks. So yeah, that happens too. But yeah, it's been so many years thinking about it now, how many different people I met and I saw and I got to interview. Do you guys know who Mike Uslin is? Michael Uslin?
No, I can't say I do.
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar.
Okay. Michael Uslin is the main licensor of anything Batman movie related. He bought the rights for about $20,000 back in what was it, 85, 86, and then released the Michael Keaton movie in 89. And he's owned Batman ever since. So any video, any cartoon, anything put out in the movie theaters or on TV has to have his stamp of approval. He's written 2 books. about his life with Batman and growing up with Batman. So he's as much a Batman fan as I am, and I got the opportunity to actually interview him at one of my buddy's comic shows. I know a lot of Comic Con producers, these guys that put on the shows, promoters, if you will. And Mikey Carbo owns Big Apple Comic Con with his partner Peter, and Michael Uslan.
Oh, I think you're breaking up, Bruce.
Yeah.
Looks like he froze.
Yep.
Yeah, he's freezing up.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Bruce, I don't know.
Okay,
there we go.
There we go. Okay, I was going to say, if you can hear us, we definitely can't hear you. I was going to suggest leaving the studio and coming back in.
I was just about to do that, and then we came back live. So I just saw 3 spinning wheels, one for each of us. So I knew something went down. Maybe they didn't like me talking about Michael Uslan. I don't know. Who said it?
You must be on a list.
Yeah, it must be on the list. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride. Oh, there goes Pops. What's up, Pops?
Oh, I was just coming in to stand up in case you couldn't get back in right away.
Okay.
There's our man behind the curtain.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Here. We back each other up around here.
Absolutely.
That's part of what I love about the network. If I'm having bad weather and I'm about to do a show, and I go into our Facebook chat and I say, hey, yo, guys, I could get kicked out in the middle of this show. I'm going to need a co-host right now. Somebody pops in, Dustin, Doc, somebody pops in and has it just in case I lose that connection. The show can go on.
Yeah.
The show.
There you go.
You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, I don't know how long you guys plan on going tonight. We've already broke the hour, almost 10-minute mark. So I don't know how long you guys go live. Because I could talk for hours, but and I don't even have a drink in yet.
We are seasoned veterans, bro. We are seasoned veterans. An hour doesn't scare us, okay? But it's up to them, of course. It's their show. The wonderful thing about StreamYard is if you keep your show under 2 hours, you can go into the library and it will AI shorts for you that you can play on your network, right?
Yeah. So
one thing, we kind of try to chop them right before the 2 hour mark so that the AI will do it for us because I'm no editor.
Right.
Just like you, Bruce, I am no tech guy. When I started doing this, I had no idea what I was doing, man.
Yeah.
I pulled this guy, Phil, from our group, from our Facebook group. I was like, dude, you got to come help me, man. You got to show, because I'm doing this 2-day, all-day show, and I didn't have any tech backup. I didn't have nothing, right?
Right.
So we dragged Phil out there, and then Pete came up. Pete lives in New York. He's one of them guys. You ever heard of Two Fat Guys?
Well,
personally, no, but I wouldn't be surprised if I knew of them through Toy Fair or other shows.
They do the con. They do the New York City Con every year.
I probably know them by face, but I don't necessarily know them by the name of their show because I don't follow anybody else.
Those
I
two
found
guys
a
really
guy's barbecue sauce down here, but I don't think that'd be them.
Pete and Phil really saved my ass a few times because of I'm doing this huge show and then I'll get kicked off. And it's like if I didn't have that co-host or that guy backstage that could jump in and fix things and or take over for me or whatever, it would have been horrible. And one CromCon, they actually did the whole weekend without me because my son was getting married that weekend.
Okay.
So I had to go party with my son, and I went to the wedding and Pete and Phil did the whole show, the whole weekend. They did everything, right? And I would pop in drunk every now and then. from the wedding. Just and every time I popped in, I was a little bit higher, a little bit higher. They had like 5 different kinds of moonshine rolling around this reception.
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
Every time one walked by, I'm grabbing. Oh, dude, it was so good. So good. So
Yeah.
much fun.
I can imagine you running around like Granny from Beverly Hillbillies with the moonshine.
Hold up. I'll give you a little picture. Hold on. Let me see if I can find a little picture.
Oh, he's got photo evidence.
Yeah,
Oh,
let me see if I can find a little picture.
Well, wait, were you sloppy drunk by then?
Oh man, I was well. The picture I'm going to show you is I was probably not too far gone yet, but at the end of the day, I was tuned up.
Okay.
I got a couple of pictures I'm going to show you because this was a unique experience.
oh,
I love it. I love it.
yes.
So
That's great.
Spider-Man is Spider-Man. That's me and my son, and Flash are his best man. You know?
Nice.
That's great. Love it. Love it.
But yeah, man.
I actually,
dude.
I actually tried to name my kids after Batman characters, and my wife gave me a really hard time. I was able to finally get one of my kids named after Dick Grayson. She allowed me to name my last son. His middle name is Grayson, but I wasn't allowed to give, like, my oldest son was going to be Grayson Wayne because I just loved the combination of the 2 names. So it was going to be Grayson Wayne, last name. And, look at,
there you go. It's me and my
Yeah,
son and my
it's
grandson.
beautiful.
And
your son's name is Jarrell, right?
No. I did not get to name him, okay, but I'm okay with. I mean, she named him. She gave him my middle name and named Travis. You know, but she gave him my middle name, and I was like, I'm okay with that. You know,
There you go.
But I mean, he's a good kid. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I don't think he ever does.
Yeah, I don't think he sleeps either.
Look, when I first started doing this, when I was doing those CromCon shows that were all day, and then I was back again the next day right away, and people were seeing me texting and popping up all night long, and they're like, dude, what's up? I'm naturally this way. If it wasn't for weed, I'd be through the ceiling. Okay. That's
I
why
can relate. I can relate. I'm the same way.
I am just, you know.
So wait, I have to ask you, Pops, are you a sativa guy or an indica guy?
Depends on the sitch.
Okay.
You know,
if
I'm
standard
trying to go
sativa,
to sleep,
but
if I'm trying to go to sleep, I'm gonna drop on that hard indica. You know, I mean, but for the rest of the day, I'll have a good time. Sometimes I'll make a blend. I'll buy flavors, and sometimes I'll just take a little piece off of like the 6 different kinds and stick it all in a blender.
Grind it up and smoke it up. Grind it up, roll it up, smoke it up.
It's always I don't ever. I mean, I get the free pre-roll sometimes at the dispensaries, but I can roll, but I don't. I'd much rather.
I have a machine. I have a machine to help me roll, but I prefer a pipe. I have a mini. It's this big, but it's a standard size pipe bowl for regular tobacco. But the stem is only this big, so it's a mini pipe. Actually, I can't
show you mine because I can't show you what I usually smoke out of because it's embarrassing.
I mean, it's a naked woman. It's a naked woman lying on her side.
You remember the other day I showed you the one that looks like a crack pipe.
Yes.
I can't stand smoking out of that anywhere in public because it looks like
it looks like a crack pipe. Okay, I got you.
Right?
I showed you mine.
But I had this one that I like so much that I won't give it up. It's duct taped together to a steel straw because it keeps falling apart and falling apart. You know the glow in the dark, what do they call these, polyurethane or whatever pipes?
Yeah.
It's got a little metal bowl on the inside, right?
Yeah.
And you just pop that bowl out and you drop it in the alcohol, clean it. It's real easy to clean. It's real easy to,
Yep.
But it fell apart. It started like just deteriorating, man. And I was like, crap, I can't have that. And I haven't found a replacement yet. So
Yep.
I'm
And
gonna
you
use that.
probably won't. You
Duct
probably
tape,
won't
baby.
find a replacement. You'd have to hunt.
Yeah, everything's hard to find. He's frozen.
Yeah, find a master craftsman to
Somebody screenshot
make
that. Every
one.
time he freezes up, I want somebody to screenshot the look on his face. Right? Somebody do that for me.
There you go. But I'm always, what is this? The sheer number
Oh,
of corncob
dude, when I
pipes
was
I
young-
burned to the bottom.
When I was
Yes,
young,
time
yeah.
scales. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Sucking on the pipe too much, letting the lighter just cook inside the bowl. Corncob pipes just go right up.
We
You
lived
gotta
in the
wet 'em.
city. We lived in
Yeah.
the city, and having the corncob pipe was like the in thing, right?
Yeah. I'm from Long Island, and they were all over the 7-Elevens and the gas
Yeah.
stations. You could pick one up for like $2 at a local gas station. And what we would do, though, is we would take, so here's a quick trick for you, timescales. You take the pipe, the outer portion of the pipe, and you soak it in water before you actually light it up. Because if you got the outside wet, it's not going to burn through. So we used to do that. One of my friends couldn't find any water, and he stuck his freaking pipe in Coca-Cola. So it was sticky to the touch. You were holding the bowl, and your hand was getting tacky from holding the Coca-Cola,
Oh,
soaked pipe. So
Now,
the horror stories, the funny stories, there's several of them, I'm sure.
one of the other things you were talking about that I kind of wanted to touch on since I'm here is the people that run cons that you know. Okay, I know a couple. I don't know a lot, but I also know guys that run media at a few cons on the West Coast. Do you know Jeff Holman and Ben Bartlett, the Still Token guys?
No, not familiar with them at all.
They're part of our network, dude. Still Toking with. They've had great guests, Tommy Chong, all kinds of people on their show.
That's
This
nice.
is what I'm, it's like they do their show on our network too. This is the kind of growth I'm talking about. This is exactly what I want to happen. Meeting you guys just expands this even more. Come on, man. This is gonna be for real, dude.
There's a lot of growth that can happen here, and we're not going to touch upon that now because there's a lot going on behind the scenes in different avenues of this industry right now. And there's so much we could do. There's so much more we could do, as Pops and Kaz have been already talking, that we could, like we're talking about on a road show. I can't wait,
dude.
And that's going to be
awesome.
fun.
That's
so
going to
be
be fun. This is so
I
much
want you guys,
stuff, dude.
Yeah, I want you guys to come out to New York for Toy Fair, the last New York Toy Fair. So I've been told it's going to happen in 2025, but we'll figure that one out.
What I looked up, it says February 20th through the 23rd, 2027.
Is the last one?
Yeah.
Wow. 2027. All right, so you guys have 2.5 years, 2 years technically. 2 years to get your shit together so that we can all go.
Is there going to be one in 25 and 26, or is it just
I don't know.
one more?
I don't know.
That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the question.
I'll have to give some phone calls to some of my friends. Cosmic smiling out there, he's funny. Yeah. But I'll make some phone calls and I'll talk to some of my other buddies that are still in the industry that I keep in touch with. I got a friend of mine who used to run the Barnes and Noble's toy department. Now, I don't know if people remember Barnes and Noble, but it was a bookstore, right?
Yeah.
You buy books there. It's not a library. It was a bookstore. And they had their own toy department. And my friend ran their toy department for like 25 years. And then when they closed the one in his neighborhood, one of his clients was actually Harvey Weinstein, believe it or not, a long time ago. Anyway, him and his deformed penis, but who cares? The whole point is that he went from my buddy went from there to Target, and he now runs the Target toy store department out by him out that way in Connecticut as well. So he's moved his way up, but he's still in the industry, And I'm going to give my buddy Rob a call and tap into him and see what he can tell me, because I would love for you guys to come out. If there's one in 2025, we should definitely do it.
Yeah.
It's like this, guys. There's a lot of layers to what we can do.
Yeah.
Now that it's legit, now that we have people that even more connections. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got some connections. He got some connections. He got some connections. He got some connections. Everybody's starting to. Man, it has so much potential. It just needs everybody to want it to happen. You know,
it's about networking. It's always been about networking and logistics. Networking and logistics has been my game literally my entire life. It's weird because I just do it naturally. God rest his soul. My father always told me I could sell their own shirt off of their back if I tried hard enough. I was always that good at just selling. Why I can't sell my own stuff? I can tell you why I can't sell my own stuff, because I won't let it go. I'm afraid to let go of my toys, damn it. I've got so much, guys. I got 4 storage units full of stuff. Like literally, I have wrestling figures over here. I've got miscellaneous stuff over there. I've got Marvel. I've got Disney. I've got Turtles. I've got 125 or 130 original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures still on card. Oh, yes, I have Lady Death as well.
Yeah,
that's a great figure. That by far was, yeah.
And this is in like pretty damn good shape too, bro.
Yeah.
That thing, man. This, you know.
I've got the Purgatory from that. She's hanging on the wall. I'm looking at it right now.
Purgatory, and I think I got Angela too. But from Spawn, but
yeah. Right.
I love
but wait a minute, do you have the Angela from Spawn missing the panties or with the panties? Because there was a mistake.
She's got the panties on. I know what you're talking about. I know.
No party,
there was a mistake that they didn't paint her crotch in one of them, because they just slapped the front and back panels on her. You know, her skirt. She had a front skirt and a back skirt panel, and that was it. So they didn't paint between their legs. And they did that until McFarlane was like, no! There was a whole big thing about that stuff. It hit the media, you know, national news. I think he did it on purpose, to be honest with you. It was a way to promote the toys, the figures.
Yeah.
You know, it made the news. It made the news all nationwide. You know, pornographic action figure toy.
Bad press is still press.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's no such thing as bad press.
Right.
You know, promotion is. Remember.
Oh, froze up again.
Yeah.
No, but to further go into that, like, so I don't know, like, I know a lot of people, but it's like, you know, just individuals or whatever. And I've tried to partner with a couple of little startup, you know, 3D printers, because I do a lot of painting of the 3D printed parts for, you know, like Legions or whatever. And because of my personality, we sometimes clash. We don't see eye to eye, you know, and then rumors get started. And I don't go about trying to clear up no rumors. If somebody wants to know my side of the story, my messenger is always open. You can come to me and ask me directly, and I'll give you my side of the story, just like they're going to give you their side of the story. You know, I don't go around and go, hey, guys, you know, you might have heard this. No, forget it. If you've heard about me, you've heard about me. Either way, good or bad.
Their side, your side, and the truth, and nobody will ever know the truth. It's not going to matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
very true. Very true.
It's like this. The truth is the only thing that really does matter.
Problem is, Pops, you're not always going to get the truth. Just like you're never going to get the truth about the stolen election in 2020. But I digress. I won't go there. We're not going into that. That's not what we're about. But no, okay. Anyway. I just have to throw it in there.
No, there's two things we don't.
Sometimes.
2 things we usually try to shy away from is politics and religion, because that starts arguments, and that's not what we're about.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, no, Pops told me in advance, but I bust everybody's chops. That's who I am.
I do make fun though of it.
No, it's hilarious.
I
love that. Hey, that post that you had to take down earlier, Pops, from the Facebook group, like that cover. If you saved the image, because I grabbed it immediately, because I'm going, holy shit, Dustin's on that cover. If you scroll down all the way to the bottom and zoom in the middle, and you look at him right now, and you tell me that's not Dustin, and he's holding the phone up. Yes, that's it. I swear to you. Look at it. If you
It's so bad. It really is.
Look at it.
Well, see, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and comment on this real quick because I don't usually remove stuff from the madness. Okay, if somebody puts two posts side by side of the same thing, yeah, I'm going to get rid of one of them. I'm going to like one of them. I'm going to get rid of the other one. Okay, we don't need that in our scroll. But dude posted a comic book, and I already knew what was going to happen. I let it go for a couple hours just to see. And people couldn't just let it go. Somebody had to come out and say something. And as soon as somebody come out and say something, somebody else thinks it's okay to come out and say something.
I mean, look.
All right, look around and make sure I'm not on that motherfucker.
That's funny.
Of course, that's the zoomed in. I'm not gonna zoom out on it or whatever.
Okay. Wait. Pops, you got to text that image to me now because now I got to see what it was.
He does. I don't have it.
All right.
I just deleted it.
Well, I sent it. Look, Dustin, you've got it in our group chat. You send it over to Pops. Pops will send it to Bruce here.
Dustin has my number.
Yeah,
Dustin has my number. Let him send it to me.
There you go. It was hilarious though. As soon as I saw it, I'm going, holy shit! Dustin's on a comic book cover.
Now, even though I knew this book was leftist rhetoric, okay, I'm a free speech guy.
Yeah.
And if
100%.
nobody went out there and started shit about it, I would have left it alone. But my group is not for people to argue their political stance.
Exactly.
Sorry. You don't get to do that in my Facebook group. You got a Twitter, you got your own Facebook page, you got your own places to air your own bullshit. Okay.
Right.
It was a comic book. Period. Okay.
Right.
Dude has the right to promote it. Dude has the balls to try and talk about that. I think he was actually reviewing that book. I don't think he had anything to do with the creation of that book, even. It wasn't the book. It was everybody's response to the fucking book. It's a goddamn comic book, people. Come on.
Well, that's the problem with cancel culture.
Pedestals, man. Get the fuck down off your pedestals.
That's the problem with cancel culture. Cancel culture has gotten so out of control that I call it bizarro world because you say something literally innocently out of a thought in your head, and somebody comes and looks at you sideways and goes, "Well, that's racist. What are you talking about? What are you talking?" Look, they tried canceling Dr. Seuss. They tried canceling what was the other one? I forgot. But Dr. Seuss, come on, are you kidding me? Yeah. So I have a shirt. I have a shirt with a bunch of characters from Dr. Seuss all going, "Cancel culture this." I'll wear that one night when I find it. I'll wear that one night. But it's a bunch of Dr. Seuss characters going, "Cancel culture this."
The other thing, Bruce, is I came out and started this on Facebook first. This is where my group started. This is where the whole thing started, was Facebook, right? So at some point I met some people that were part of the Comicsgate movement. They weren't the people on top, but they were just people that were part of the movement that ended up being pretty cool people. They're still friends of mine. Okay. I myself, because I was sold on the good books, no bullshit, and just get them out in people's hands, right? That was the selling point for their movement. No, I'm good with that. Get books in people's hands. Yeah, I'm good with that. You know what DC and Marvel were doing to the characters. I don't have to go into all that. It was a movement against the destruction of the shit we love. Okay.
Well, why do they call the MCU the MCU now? Right? It's no longer MCU. It's MCU. But I got to tell you, I will say this: Marvel Jesus is bringing back the old school comic movies that I really do enjoy. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about,
No.
Marvel Jesus is Deadpool. Okay,
Yeah.
Deadpool
Okay.
is Marvel Jesus. He brought the Sony team together with the Disney team, and they're now back together again.
Mhm.
So let's see how that
Yeah, it's
goes
to the
down.
point that they're even talking about doing Blade 4
Ooh.
with Wesley Snipes,
Yes,
and it's just like
because
finally.
So what I was
Right?
getting at was I had been canceled by the left for accepting the CG movement.
Yeah.
And then I was canceled by CG for not dropping my friends that were still doing good stuff. I don't care about make good fucking comics. I don't care about your goddamn politics. Don't make it part of my life. I'm one of them people that thinks the farther you get away from the fence, the more chance you're gonna step in shit.
nice.
Yeah, that's a
I
custom.
saw
I
you
made.
dusting it off. I saw you dusting
Yeah.
it off. That was nice.
Yeah,
You
That's
got
a
to do
custom?
that.
that is a custom. Yes, that is the base body is a
That's beautiful.
Netflix Punisher. All right, and then of course I used the Wesley Snipes head. That's a cast that I made.
Nice.
It's got
See, that's one
glasses.
thing I never did. I never did
It-
casting. I'm
It
a
is
sculptor.
definitely it's an art form all to itself. The
Yeah.
sunglasses on him is from a McFarlane Terminator figure. This
Nice.
is a print that I got from it was either Casting Cave or the guy was going by Resin Armory on Instagram. The coat is from it is a movie Cyclops figure that had a trench coat.
I don't remember that.
I don't. Oh yeah, it was not. It was I. It's kind of a hard figure to find or whatever. But yeah, the buckles I mold and cast it off of another. It was some DC figure or something. So, but yeah, that was
Nice.
my. I even painted the tattoos on the back of the neck. It's hard to see.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. You did a beautiful job on that. I got to tell you,
this
Zombie,
one-
that was one thing I never could get into was casting my own, making molds for my stuff. I was always a sculptor. I needed to physically make it with my own hands. I know you make a mold with your hands, but it's not the same. So,
But yeah, here's a mold that I did off of one of my sculpted heads. It was a pumpkin skull kind of thing. But yeah, so I would take that original head. I don't have anything within hand's reach to show you, but it starts out like this, and I could do it two ways. I could do it this way, and I didn't need. I sculpted a stem for the top of the head, and I didn't need the stem on it because for this one, I just needed really the face part of it because I was putting it inside of a hood, so it had that pumpkin skull kind of face inside of a hood. So this is it's a rubber latex is you brush on, and I have it here because I'm still making molds with it.
that's wild. That's amazing.
Still doing it. Takes a long time though.
No, I know, but you know what? You could do a show just on how to make a mold.
Well,
no joke.
My method is very inefficient. It could take a month just to make one mold for one piece. And there's a lot of other people out there that are a lot better at it that they have the stuff that you can pour and it solidifies within like an hour or whatever.
Right.
A month? We can get a lot of content out of that.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. But you could even speed it up. You could do video shorts that you pull together and make a whole show out of it. Just do one show on mold building, and if it does well, you could do part 2, part 3, part 4. There's so many details to doing something of what your caliber, and I just don't have that proficiency. I just love working with my hands. So, taking Bondo, the car putty, and building it on the figure, and then sanding it down to get the right angle and the right texture, and all that stuff is so.
This is the thing. Hold up, guys. This is the thing. Anybody that's doing anything, painting little miniatures, anybody who's doing anything, you can do it in front of your fucking camera, guys. You
I
can put
never-
the camera on and do it, and that's content, and it shows people your talent. It's good for your portfolio. I can't even explain how much self-promotion fucking matters, guys.
I love that one. Well, who is that?
That looks like
That's actually, that was a sculpt by a guy named Kevin DeLeese. It's a private project that was under a company called My Action Figure Customs, where they did a lot of 3D printed parts specifically for Mythic Legions. This row right here behind me.
Right.
That one was titled just Strong Guy, and he made a torso to go along with it. There's the torso. This is all 3D printed resin.
nice.
Wow. That's awesome. Very
So
cool.
we have so many
Trying to
people-
get him back into painting and stuff.
we have so many people that like include little 3D minis in their comic campaigns and shit, little 3D miniatures of the characters and all that shit. And so many of them are like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. And it's like those kind of instructional videos.
Yeah.
Man, there's a place for them too. There's a place for everything in the madness, bro. If you have a skill you can teach,
See,
just set a camera up when you're doing it. Just talk about it. That's all it is. You set a camera
I've done
up.
that before. Back before I, got cancer and all that. I used to set up a camera and have like an open, just hey, customize. Join me while I'm customizing, and I would go in there and on Discord and paint and just chat with people that was there, which not very
Nice.
many people showed up because I wasn't, like good or anything. So,
Well,
But it was a start for you, and that was content, was what Pops is saying. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what he's talking about. It's just content. You may have 2 viewers, you may have 10 viewers. There's going to be replays. There's going to be other things. You can always refer back to it. Hey, if you ever want to see me customizing this, and that, go back and watch episode so-and-so. So
Mhm.
people will reference it. You will reference it. It's
And that's
just
the part
having
about
it
this.
there.
That's the thing
Yeah.
about the shorts, what I was talking about earlier. The great thing about StreamYard making it so that they just automatically generate shorts for you. Dude, you just play them shorts whenever, you can link them back to the show that they came from. So if somebody watches the short and they're like, oh, that looked cool. They just click the link and boom, they're watching that show. Right?
Exactly.
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 I want to touch on, Customizer's Corner. I want to touch on something that you kept referencing, Bruce, Carabondo. It never crossed my mind to use that stuff for customizing. Like, I think I used it on something, and it was when I was a little bit older, and I'm going, this stuff I might be able to get it to work or whatever, but I want to talk about something because physical sculpting, like, actually doing it with your own hands is another skill set altogether.
We have a couple of people that do that in the madness too.
This is the stuff that I use, and I found it was hilarious because I had bought a taxidermy magazine because there was something there was a project somebody wanted me to do, which was take the Batman 89 rubber cowl or whatever and like try to make a lifelike bust. So I was looking for glass eyes, which is why I picked up the taxidermy magazine. And I'm flipping through the back trying to figure out how to order these glass eyes. And I come across something called epoxy sculpt, which is this stuff. It's 2-part epoxy clay, and you mix it together. It's self-hardening. It doesn't take. Yeah. It doesn't take heat or water. You can actually fire this stuff in a kiln and it'll survive it.
Yeah.
Well,
This is
Sculpey,
really tough stuff.
Sculpey made the same type of material, but it's different colors of clay that you can mold, and then you bake it in your oven and it hardens. The problem is
this is self-hardening. You don't have to fire it though.
that's it. Because as soon as you fire something that you make on Sculpey, it literally will be reduced to 1/3 the size it was, which really sucks because if you try and make a scale head, you've got to 3 size up it because you're going to lose 2/3 of it right away.
And with this stuff, you can put it straight onto a figure, let it self-harden in a few hours. You don't have to take a hair dryer or a heat gun or anything to try and bake that Sculpey if you're putting it on a figure. Because you can't put the figure in the oven.
Yeah.
No,
Don't
you can't
do
put
it.
the figure in the oven. You can't put the figure, especially if they're plastic. You definitely don't want to put a figure in the oven. But if you put it, like if you mold a piece out of the Sculpey and then you put it in the oven, harden it, and then glue it on, it's going to be too small because it's shrunk. And so it's a pain. Oh, wow.
That is
That's the
insane.
Spawn and Violator. Holy shit.
Dude.
Spawn and Violator. Wow. Who made that?
That's Jim O'Reilly, bro. That's one of the people in the network. He comes out to the draft game every Sunday. Almost every Sunday he shows up. He's done a pit. He's done he's done a bunch of them, man.
He's very talented. He's very talented.
Amazing artist. He's done comic books, and he's done I got a bunch of his art, and he's super fucking cool and unbelievable. I call him the incomparable Jim O'Reilly. The incomparable Jim O'Reilly, because he can do it all, bro.
Yeah.
He's badass. But when you start talking about sculpting and I'm like, dude, we got people in our network that do this shit. It's like you guys, we all belong together, bro. We all belong
You're gonna have to send them my way, because right now I'm trying to learn ZBrush. I'm trying to learn digital sculpting too, and that's man. I'm very computer illiterate, so I'm taking baby steps. It's a whole other language you have to learn.
Yes, true.
But yeah, man, he's super smart too about real AI, not like ChatGPT, but real artificial intelligence. He's fucking brainiac kind of guy, real smart, real talented. Blessing to get to have met him. I've known him for about 5-6 years now. He's one of the very original members of the Facebook group way back in the day. Really good dude. Really good.
Cool. Hey guys, I don't want to throw a wet towel over this, but we're at a quarter after midnight here, and I don't want to go over that 2-hour mark so that you lose that ability. So I'm going to throw it back to you guys, and I would love to come back and join you guys again another time and chit chat some more. I mean, this was fun. It's been a long time. You guys brought me back to my roots. This is where it all started for me, was customizing figures and going to Toy Fair.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll dig out some more. I had something else to pull out tonight. I haven't unboxed it yet because I know you guys like doing unboxings, but we'll save that for another day, another time.
Yes.
And you know what? You're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. We're here for the long haul. So with the gears going between Pops and Cosmic, there's some new things on the horizon, guys. I'm not going to say any more than that, but God bless, and peace out from Batman.
I'm just glad to all of you guys have brought your creative action to the madness and help it grow. I just appreciate all you guys. Now I'm gonna get out of here, and you can do all your goodbyes.
Yeah, hey, networking.
Yeah,
but no, Bruce. Before you split, I'm gonna try to find that custom that I made off of that Killer Croc for next time.
Please do.
We're definitely gonna have you back on.
Thank you. Hey, get my number from Justin, and you can send me the pictures yourself. I have no problem with you guys sharing my number. We keep it in the family. It'll be fine.
All right.
All right. Well, that was an insane fun episode. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I think there's nothing better to say than just, hey, it was awesome. And, feedback from the comments.
Thank you to the
also
viewers.
Saying it was a great show. So thanks again for coming out and hanging out with us.
No, absolutely. Thank you for having the show, because like I said, It Figures was my article back in the early 90s, and to have Its Frickin Figures to be here tonight is just amazing. So thank you very much for bringing me back home to my roots. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah. Happy to do it. And so until next time, I'll just say Thundercats ho. Thunder Nerds ho. There we go.
Nerds
ho! I finally got it. All right.
I know, right?
I need the thing. Where'd it go?
What was that?
I don't